we're going to go over the 90-90 active hip stretch. This is a hip mobility exercise to try to improve hip flexion and external rotation, and hip extension and internal rotation. We're going to sit on the ground in this 90-90 position. We want to see roughly 90-degree angles at the ankles, knees, and hips on both sides. We don't want to have this knee flexed way in. You don't want to have this back leg flexed way up. A lot of your clients are going to try to crunch themselves into a ball like this, make them slide this leg forward, and slide this leg back. It's important, if they feel uncomfortable and this leg's way up, you can get a towel, a bolster, a wedge, put it underneath this knee. Same thing on this back side. If they complain of feeling a lot of pressure in their medial knee because they're tight, simply take a towel or a wedge and just prop this back knee up. We want to make sure that we can focus on stretching the parts we want, so you want to make sure they're comfortable everywhere else. You want to put your hands on either side of this lead leg, and I want you to focus on trying to pull yourself over the middle part of your lower leg. A lot of your clients are going to try to cheat by pulling themselves towards their knee. Now, if you want to stretch this direction specifically, that's not bad, but this is usually going to be a way that they find to get out of it and reduce the tension in the hip. So I'll usually cue them to bring themselves over the middle of their calf. Okay? We want their hands on either side of their front leg, and realize on this front side, we're trying to get hip external rotation and flexion. So what we want to make sure that we don't do is flex our spine down. I think a lot of people try to substitute lumbar flexion in for hip flexion. So what I say, instead of cueing them to bring their chest to the floor, I say I want you to bring your chest forward, try to find a target in front of you. I'm going to think about trying to pull my chest forward over the leg, keeping my spine flat. Okay? I'm going to go towards my end range. I'm going to go as far as I can without rounding my back. That's going to be right about here. And then I want to focus on creating tension. We don't want to sit here and just passively fake stretch. We want to think about trying to pull ourselves into positions, try to create tension and pull ourselves deeper into the stretch. So rather than just sitting here like this, I want to think about contracting my glute, pressing my leg into the floor, trying to press this knee down. And I want to think about using my hip flexor to pull myself forward over this lead leg. And I want to maintain that active isometric tension for about a minute here while I take big breaths in the nose. And long, sustained exhales out the mouth. We want to think long, slow breathing with the continual intent to try to pull ourselves deeper into the stretch. Typically, I would cue that for anywhere from 5 to 8 long, slow breaths like that, so you can accumulate about a minute at least in that position. Then we're just going to transition to this rear leg. And I like this stretch because you get both positions. You don't have to really move the leg, so it's very efficient. So now we're going to look for internal rotation and extension through this rear leg. Again, we want to make sure that this hip is extended back so we can actually have an extended position. We want the hands behind the hips. The cue I like to use is to think like you're going to pry your legs apart like a wishbone. So I'll say try to drive your knees in opposite directions, pin them to the ground. You want to think about turning your chest towards this rear heel. Okay? Because what we're doing here is we have a fixed femur, and we're rotating our torso against that, so we're driving relative internal rotation into this hip. We want to cue to drive this knee down into the ground, and then turn our chest towards our heel. And take our long, sustained breaths here. We want to make sure that our clients don't cheat by laying back. Commonly, they're going to do this, and that's them trying to substitute lumbar extension and rotation in for hip extension and rotation. So make sure they sit up tall. Okay, continually have them drive those knees apart. Long, slow breaths. Again, about 5 to 8 breaths before you go and you transition, and then repeat the drill on the opposite side. I just want to take a second to show you how we can use a bolster or a pad to try to